Finally, I feel like it's been so long since a win. I don't know. Even though I feel like we just keep flip-flopping. Win, loss, win, loss. We got a win to talk about here. Celtics taking down the Nuggets. I mean, Jokic did everything he could do to win that game. But the Celtics did a little bit more as they take down the Nuggets. I mean, we kind of saw what we needed to out of our big three, right? That was what I'm looking for here, because we saw Tatum kind of, not really do his thing against Washington. Obviously, Kemba was okay. Jaylen was okay. But what's going to happen when these three guys combine for, say, 60 points? Well, here we go. So Celtics take down the Nuggets, back in the win column. To be honest, I'm feeling like it was just like we got in and took care of business, and all of a sudden it was just like good Celtics basketball. Am I crazy to be like, that wasn't a crazy game or anything like that? Like, I know this team is now, just one game above 500? But that looked like the basketball they should be playing. Let's get to some of the box score here, and then we'll get to chat. All right, so Jason Tatum, 21, 8, and 6. He's doing it all. I mean, as a team, they had 26 assists. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum made up for half of that, and the one gripe I had when they combined for so many assists, a couple games ago, and they only each scored like 15 points, whatever it was, my concern was that, okay, well, they assisted the ball a lot, but they didn't score. They still combined for 48 points tonight and 13 assists. So that's Jason Tatum, 21, 8, and 6. Tristan Thompson had 9 and 12. Jaylen Brown, we'll get to him in a little bit. I'm not going to spoil the player of the game, but we'll get to him in a little bit. 27, 5, and 5. And then Kemba Walker had he started off hot. I think he missed a few shots late, kind of took his percentages down, but he had 17 and 4. And then around that, this is a complete box score. Now, I'm not saying anyone else went off, but 9 points from Nesmith, 8 points from Pritchard, 8 from Robert, 8 from Semi. Like, all of a sudden, these guys finally said, okay, let's contribute. Keyword, contribute. So, again, if you're just joining us on YouTube or Spotify, YouTube, or Twitch or Periscope, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. It definitely helps us out, and we're growing that subscriber count each and every day. But with all that being said, me pleading for subscribers, let's get to the Celtics Live postgame player of the game. No surprise here. It's his first time winning it this season for us. Now, I might say and might add that, we've only done this for 3 wins so far, and we're only doing this after wins. But Jaylen Brown, 27, 5, and 5. Let's do it. I mean, that is an all-star if I've ever seen one. Let's get to some of the chat here. We got AC saying, did someone say pass the rock? 26 assists tonight. I got something funky going on my screen right now. 1 second. All right. We're back, I think. I got chat now. The stream's probably ended, and here I am reacting to it. Don't even know. But Birkin says, Time Lord. Yeah, Time Lord coming in there playing very, very valuable minutes, plus 12 on a guy like Jokic. We've talked about over and over again, and it's like, okay, he plays against Gobert, and everyone's like, okay, no, sit down. You don't belong here. A.K.A. Brad Stevens said that to him. He plays against the best center in the league, or one of the best centers in the league, and comes to play. 12 points, 8 rebounds from him. And how many blocks did he have? He had 0 blocks? I find that a little bit hard to believe. But anyways, Donovan says, love Jaylen Brown, man. Hayden says, Time Lord, Pritchard, Nesmith all played well. How about that? How about when we have 3 young guys all play well? Look what happens. Donovan says we needed that dub so bad. Hayden says JB carried us. Jordan says all NBA Jaylen Brown. I mean, Jaylen Brown is playing like a stud. We talk about, he's just making that all-star level. The guy's averaging 26 plus points a game. It's crazy. The leaps that he's taken in his career. Jason Tatum's averaging, similar numbers, but we're not out here saying, oh my God, can you believe how good Jason Tatum's gotten? No, because we expect that. Jaylen Brown has taken the leap, ladies and gentlemen. And if you think that this is just, I know us in the chat and me probably don't think this, but if you think that Jaylen Brown, this is sort of a phase or it's a hot start to a season, think again. We're near 30 games into the year. I think this is the Jaylen Brown that we have. Birkin says Rob was awesome. Jaylen with ice in his veins. Hayden says Kemba did well. Yeah. Kemba 17-4. And again, I think think about this. I'll play it like this. So Kemba did well. It's a good way to put it. But when Tatum was kind of slow to start and not playing well, Kemba was there. You know what I mean? So they always kind of, Jaylen was box to wire, hot. But when Tatum wasn't in the game yet, he hadn't hit his first shot, he wasn't feeling it, Kemba was there. That's what they need. They need to be able to play off of each other. Let's see. Bunk saying massive dub, boss man. It was. That was it's just like, you get spanked by a couple bad teams, right? And spanked by one really, really bad team. Then you come and play a better team, one of the better teams. And what happens? It went back and forth for a little bit, but that was a handily win. Like, the Celtics were in control of that game. So I'll take it. Mustafa saying, oh, wait, forget the game, that hoodie. I think these are last season's The Boss collection. You can see if they're still available, or DM me if you're looking for one, because we could probably find some extras here. But this is The Boss collection. Go check it out on GuyBostonSports.com/store. I know Mustafa's a fan of the merch. Tommy says, we should not trade Kemba. Good win, but it means absolutely nothing if we do not stack any wins. I think that's a fair point. Like, we need a streak here. After these games, we need a streak here. One win, as great as it is, it's not all of a sudden, it's not like, hey, we won the championship, right? There's a lot that needs to happen still. Donovan says, Ev had to pull out all green in celebration. I mean, I look like a nerd right now, just an apps. Everything is green, but hey, we'll call it in celebration. Dean says, finally. Kevin says, solid game tonight. Also, Nesmith and Rob deserve more minutes. We haven't talked about it yet, but I love the fact that Brad is finally saying, hey, you know what? Let's see if our lottery pick has something. Let's see if our lottery pick is able to, hang with NBA players, rather than just guessing and waiting multiple years to throw him in there. And he finally looks comfortable. Now, I still don't think he's where he needs to be, right? I think that there was plenty of plays there. Like, there was one really, really bad play where he just got caught sleeping and they had like a backdoor cut on him. Whatever. Fine. But he just looks like he belongs out there. Every NBA player is going to make mistakes. I'm not saying he's perfect, but for him to be a rookie and be trusted, when they need a win, like a much-needed win, him to go out there and play 24 minutes, shoot 50% from the field, 50% from three, I will take that 100%. And guess what, guys? Let's flash the box score up here again, because I'm just noticing this. You see this last column right here, right? Plus, minus. You see this? This is Aaron Nesmith's. You guys see this number? Led the team in plus, minus, plus 20 from Nesmith tonight. Woo! I'm going to say it again, guys. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. Like this stream. I don't think I mentioned that last time. If you're watching on Twitch, if you're watching on Periscope, get your butt over to YouTube. That's where we're focusing our audience here. So head over there and subscribe to the channel. Birkin says, Nesmith was useful. That's a good word for it. AC says, you said it earlier, Ev, give Nesmith some playing time. He was plus 20 tonight. Perfect timing. I didn't even read that when we looked at the box score. AD says, I wanted to see Jokic try and shoot over Taco. Bunk says, we finally moved the ball like we're supposed to. A good showing from our bench. Amazing game for the Jays. Solid game from Kemba. Good showing from our bench. That's all we're asking for in these games, and they did it. Amazing game from the Jays. Jason Tatum could have had a way better game if he didn't start slow, right? But again, it's like it's moving the ball while they're still doing what they're supposed to do. We're going to rely on Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown for scoring. They need to do that. When they each had, what do they have? They had like 9 assists each or something a few games back. That's all good, but they need to score as well. That's what we rely on them for. And here's an example of they did. 8 assists from Tatum, 5 from Brown, combined for half the team's assists. And they both scored 20 plus. Go figure. That's a recipe for success. Raisin says, hopefully this W doesn't give Ainge a reason not to make some trades. I know. Tommy says, for how great the Joker is, he's crap on D. Might be the worst in the NBA. All you have to do is put him to the pick and roll. I think he's a great player, though. Yeah, he's just slow. And to be honest, I'm going to give him some credit here. He was even slower, 2 seasons ago, maybe? He's lost weight. He's gotten a little bit more mobile, but he does not have it in him to be a fast player at all. It is what it is. Bunk says this game either raised Rob's value or kept him on the seas. Probably both. Yeah, I think he's the guy that I want to ride with. I'm not looking to trade him unless you could trade him to absolutely get a ridiculous superstar, I guess. Rob Williams isn't the trade name that I want to be looking at. I think he's got the potential to be massive in this league. Maybe I'm being a green teamer, but who knows? Hayden says, only 4 players off the bench tonight. Love to see it. And you know what I like? Other than Javonte Green, who still played okay, the guys that came off the bench made a difference, and Brad didn't take them out after 3 minutes and try someone else. That's seemingly, it's been something that we've seen all along. A guy plays 3 minutes, maybe he did good, maybe he did bad, and then he just gets benched the rest of the game and they go to their next player. No. No Carson, no Grant, no Jeff Teague, no Tremont, and that's okay. That's okay. In fact, this is probably the bench I want to see, right? Right? And Daniel Tice didn't play, so we can even say Tristan Thompson moving into that bench. Tristan Thompson, Robert Williams, Javonte Green maybe a little bit, but Nesmith, Pritchard, and Semi, right? Or, Semi moves to the bench in the starting lineup, however you want to look at it. Those are the guys, like if you go top to bottom right now, those are the guys we want to see play, and they did it. Hayden's, Kylon saying we looked like the Jazz with all the open shots we got. A lot of ball movement. Tommy says Aaron looked really good, playing great D, blocks diving on the floor. Best game for him. He just looks more and more comfortable. Time Lord at least 5 steals. Yeah, I know. I mean, that's kind of crazy. His hands were active. I know that's like such a, you hear all the broadcasters and play-by-play say that active hands. Time Lord's hands were actually active tonight. Tommy saying Rob played great, and that's an extremely tough matchup for him. Joker is way bitter. Rob tends to leave his feet and defend. How about this? His first play, right? Jokic got him on that pump fake, and I was like, oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, we're in for a long Robert Williams night. Never looked back, and kept getting better and better within that game. First play, I believe. Maybe it was the second. I don't know. But he jumped on a pump fake, and I was like, oh, this is not the type of crafty center he's going to fare well against. Prove me wrong. Birkin says, when Romeo comes back, it will be epic. I know you're rooting for Romeo. AC says, if we do this against Atlanta tonight, we can say Danny Ainge pulled off a Knute Rock in turnaround this season. I don't even know if I pronounce Knute Rockne. I feel like I should know what that is, but I just can't seem to pluck my memory as to what it is. Dean says, good team effort. Needed that victory. Now let's stack some wins. Tough stretches. Need to go on a stretch here, or on a run here. And it can be tough. We'll give it that. We'll give it a tough rating, but winnable. Winnable, ladies and gentlemen. This Celtics team is better than the 500 basketball team that we've seen in the past. Winnable. So I think it's possible. I don't think we should, not be able to see the next 10 games, this one included, going on a 7-3, 8-2 sort of run. Dean says, good team effort. Needed that victory. Let's stack some wins. I think I read that one already. Hayden says, Rob had 5 steals, I believe. Man was all over the place. Birkin says, if Rod stops jumping on pub fakes, he should start. Greg says, when can we trade for Campanamazo? Yeah, I mean, for a while, when that game started out, right, that was the only time the Celtics looked bad. It was like 7-2. I'm like, who the heck is this catapult guy beating us, dribbling all over us? I was like, what is going on here? I honest to God, did not know his name. That was a few, like, obviously, I'll make jokes about who the hell is that guy, but this guy I literally didn't know. I haven't watched much Nuggets basketball this year. Sergio saying, Joker is unstoppable. Thompson wasn't even playing bad defense, and he would just hit everything. He was literally like, and it would just go in. The ball would go way up and then come down into the hoop. It was tough, and he was getting so many calls. But the Celtics turned it around, and they said, okay, you know what, Jokic, you can do it. And I mean, he dropped 43, but he had like 29 at half, right? So technically he had a slower second half. They did make adjustments. Greg says, game doesn't change the fact that the bench needs upgrades. These bench guys will not be this consistent. Totally true. But this is the dream bench, right? With the guys we have. This is the bench that we need to see. We need to see the bench combining for whatever that is. Whatever it is. Is that 9, 8, that's 17, 35, 40 points? We'll take that. Hayden says, while Tatum didn't play his best game, he did make some decent decisions, got other involved, and he stepped up when he needed to. It's like him, Jaylen, and Kemba all sort of synchronized. The heck am I doing here? My body's just taking over. All synchronized, and when one guy wasn't going off, the other one was. When one guy was, the other one wasn't. It was perfect. Now, I think that they can have better games. I think they can all drop 20-plus points, but we'll take this tonight. Birkin says, Rob had a good stint against the Joker. Serge says, gets John Collins and a wing for the bench, and I think we'd be in a better spot. John Collins, I put out the clip from this podcast on the YouTube channel. Subscribe, by the way. Talking about John Collins. I'm in on the John Collins trade, if that's our only option. Not only option, but I'm in on it. But the one thing I want to say is that, I think there's better options out there, and 2, you have to be a fan of John Collins to want to go and get him, and you have to see something in him because he is still a gamble. He could be a guy that's getting all these numbers because he's on a bad team and, a team that can put up points, and he's subject to being able to be part of that. So he's still a gamble. He's not a finished product, but I would take John Collins if they do do the move. Like, that's the type of guy in a lot of these names that, hey, it's not my favorite trade, but if they do it, I'm going to be like, okay, I think that makes the team better. Hayden says, really liked Rob defense against Jokic. Did a great job moving and staying on his feet. Owen says, just good to see Tatum and Brown actually passing to each other. Ubi saying, Semi thinks he's Steph Curry. Every time he touches it, he shoots. I know. And I said that in the last stream, and we got a couple comments. It was like the same person, actually, like 10 times commenting, Semi's like deserves to shoot. Blah, blah. I'm like, no. Let me make one thing clear, and this is not to rag on Semi, not to rag on Grant Williams. The more and more they shoot, the more and more shots are coming away from Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. It's not like these guys are just chucking up shots with the bench unit. I see Semi, I see Grant, not tonight, but I see Semi and Grant taking a bunch of shots, a bunch of threes when the starters are out there. Semi Ojeleye, 7 3-point shots tonight. He only made 2 of them. That's more consistent with what type of player he is than the guy we saw at the beginning of the year, than the guy we saw a couple games ago with 24. So I want to make it clear, if these bench guys are going to play, it's not just, catch the ball and shoot. Semi Ojeleye needs to realize he does a lot more than that, and he can actually probably cut those threes in by 75% and take 2 threes a game, and that's good. He'll still stretch the floor, I guess. But I don't want to be negative here because, Semi, I think, played pretty well tonight. As I look at it, he was one of only 2 guys in the negative for plus-minus, but still. AC saying, I didn't realize how good of a passer Jokic was. 8.7 assists, best by a center. Yeah, he's an unbelievable passer. Unbelievable passer. I'm not stoked with the 22 turnovers. Yeah, and what did Jaylen have? Jaylen had like 8 or something. Let me see if I can get the box score back up. 7 turnovers for Jaylen. You don't want that many turnovers. They did cause 17, but still 20 turnovers, isn't it? And a couple of them were bad. Christian saying we had 20 turnovers and still got the W. Ubi says the Heat want Rudy Gay if he's available. How do you feel about the Celts going for them? I've said it before. Like, Rudy Gay, I think, would come in. He's a veteran. He's got the wing presence. He can score. He plays at his own speed. I think his name's been brought up before, and I say, sure. Let me have him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's my dream guy either, but you're going to be pretty hard-pressed to find a name that I say, nope, that guy wouldn't make the Celtics better. Any of these guys that are, not much of an asking price, not that expensive, you might as well swing the bat on. That's how I feel about it. Birkin saying Romeo will be the key. Tommy saying I'm a huge JT fan, and I know he had COVID, and it's affecting him, but the last few games have been poor, and I expect him to pick it up. Yeah, if he wants to be where we hold him, he needs to pick it up a little bit, but I'm glad he's stepping up in big spots at least. I'll say that. Raisin says Jokic is insanely good, was killing us for most part today. Yep, and they kind of just did the hey, you do you, man. We'll make sure no one else beats us, and they got the win. AC says Time Lord just hustles. When he picked Murray's pocket, that was true pure athleticism. Was that the one that he looked like an absolute goober trying to dribble it down the court? I mean, he didn't turn it over, right? But he had the steal, and then he's running down, dribbling behind his back, and I'm like, this is a disaster. Like, that's a train off the tracks. But overall, great game from him, but it was almost more comical. If that was at a more crucial part of the game, or he had already been terrible, I would have been furious. But I remember watching that. I don't even know if that's the play you're talking about, but he's like going behind his back on a fast break, and I'm like, this can't end well, right? Kevin says, I want to see Tatum looking to pass first more. Yeah, maybe not pass first, but pass more, I'll give you. We didn't extend Tatum. We don't want Tatum to be a pass first player, but I know what you're saying. You want to see him look to pass first more often, but not a total pass first player, but I got you. Ubi says that's Semi's burner account. Sergio saying the Celtics being interested in Drummond makes sense, but I also don't at the same time. He'll cost too much, if anything, and he'll probably be bought out. So that's the thing, right? So I don't know, obviously know the financials behind this, but it wouldn't necessarily be that they're taking on his contract. As I understand it, if they were to go to Drummond, it'd probably be because he got bought out, right? And then, a contract's up in the air. But I tweeted this out about Drummond. Let me pull it up for you guys. This was my tweet about Andre Drummond, and it's honestly the best I can put it. Do I think Andre Drummond would make this team better? Yes. Do I think he's the best option out there? No. Do I think the Celtics should rush into using any of the TPE to get Drummond? No. And that keyword rush, I'm not saying go out and get him, no. But using that TP to get him, no. And then will I be content if Celtics end up getting Drummond? Yes. And to be honest, I think everyone should feel like that. I know there's a lot of hate on Drummond, and he stinks and at this and at that. you have Tristan Thompson, right? And we like Andre Drummond's a better rebounder than Tristan Thompson. He might not be as, mobile as a defender, but he would instantly become the best beast of a big man you have. He might not be fundamental or anything like that, but he would make this team better, as much as, like, I hate to say, because I don't love the player, but he would. But he's not the best option out there, and I don't know who the best option out there is, but I know it's not Drummond, so that's kind of where I come out on him, and that's my logical take on it. Do I think he'll make him better? Yeah. I'm not saying how much better, but yeah. Do I think he's the best option? Probably not. Do I think they should rush and go out of their way to get him? Probably not. Would I live with it if they have him? Would I be somewhat happy? Yeah. AC says, no Teague tonight. Is there a correlation? No Teague tonight, and Marcus Smart was injured. Pay attention to that. Birkin says, Rob's learning. He's getting better and better. He is. I still claim this is breakout year. He cooled off a little bit from, when I posted that video on the YouTube channel, but I still think it's a breakout year for him big time. AC saying Drummond's not a good fit here. They need a big who can move the ball, but they also need a big. This is the thing. He doesn't fit the team, right? But Andre Drummond's the type of player, and let me know if this makes sense to you guys. It doesn't matter your chemistry of your team. You put him on a team, he's going to get a million rebounds, clog the lane on defense, whether or not he's a good defender, whether you want to say that or not. He has his upsides. And again, I don't think you're going to get any perfect player. So anyone's like, oh, well, Andre Drummond, yeah, we'll give him a good rebounder. He's a beast down low. But he's bad at this. It's like, well, no kidding. Anyone you trade for is going to have a but he's bad at this. Bunk saying, we really made Murray look like a clown, something like 9 turnovers. He was trying to do a lot at some points. Raisin says, why do the Celtics get killed against opposing bigs? Embiid, Jokic, Bam, like every opposing center just kills us because they don't have the guy to stop it. And again, you just mentioned 3 people, though, that it's tough to stop by anybody. You know what I mean? I know what you mean. They could do a better job on him, but no one's stopping Embiid. No one's going to stop Jokic. Can you hold him to less than 40,000 points? Yeah. But, the Celtics I just don't think are built for that. Nate saying, how do we do? I know nothing about this game. Just got home. The Celtics, I would say, handily won that game against the Nuggets. It started slow, but they just kind of took it and ran with it. It got close at times. It went back forth at times. But I think, that was a game that I watched and very rarely was like, oh my God, they're going to lose this game. So if that makes sense, Nate. Jaylen went off. He is. I'll pop it up again. Jaylen was the Celtics Live postgame player of the game. 27, 5, and 5 from him. Him and Tatum combined for 13 assists. That's half the Celtics total. Mooby saying, I'm high on Drummond. I was high on the Drummond trade, but now I just don't want any of our competitors to get him. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it on the stream too. I think that's like a tough reason to trade for someone just to make sure no one else gets him. But it does make sense. Like if Drummond were to go to the Nets or something like that, I think they become a lot better. Tommy says, we would only be 2 games back of the 1 seed if we beat the 2 worst teams in the East. It's tough. Bunk says, yeah, man, that's kind of where I'm at. If the trade deadline and Danny Deal still hasn't made something happen, Drummond is fine. It's not what I want to see, but it's fine. Capital F, fine. Yeah, it is. Like, that's okay, too. Right, Bunk? You're sounding negative about it. It's okay if they go out and make a fine trade, and I know I might get heat for this, but Danny Ainge, the trades that he's made in the past have been no word to describe it because he just doesn't do it. So if he finally, pun intended, I guess, but if he finally makes a fine trade, I think it's okay. Like, I think it's worth the flyer they're taking. And I know, like, and I've said it, I don't have to keep talking about how I feel about Drummond. It's not like it's the best option out there, but I'm willing to take a chance to get this team better rather than constantly sitting back and missing a potential opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and I truly believe that Drummond could be one of those shots that actually does really, really work out. Let's not forget that an on Drummond, a good Drummond, could give you 20 and 20. Do you guys understand how much this team could benefit from a 20 and 20 guy? I'm not saying he would have the 20 points here, sure. But do you know how much they would benefit from a 20-point rebound night? Like, I know Drummond's not the best name out there right now, but he could help this team. Greg says, anyone that doesn't think Drummond is even a good player would help this team is an idiot. Guy would be our best big man by far. And see, that's the boat I'm in. And it's no slight to Tice. It's no slight to Thompson. They both probably fit this team better, but it's not all about fitting the team. Sometimes it's about getting a beast, and I think Drummond would instantly become the biggest beast out there. He wouldn't be. That's why I'm not. I'm not stretching to say he's the best big man because I think Tice shoots the ball well. Thompson's probably a little bit better of a lateral defender than Drummond. But now you're just getting into like the, dotting the T's and crossing the I's. You just throw a big body down there. He's instantly the biggest big man, and I think could do a lot for this team. Hayden says, crazy we're the 4th seed in the East right now. Should be better. AC says, one more thing about Nesmith in his defense. His rotations on D are infinitely better. Remember, there was no preseason. He's getting little playing time, and let him play. So, agreed. And I think because of COVID, they're having like a tough time practicing, if at all, right? So think about that too. No preseason, no summer league, no none of that. No practice for this kid. I think they are practicing, but I don't know about how much. Sergio says the only player I'm rushing to get is Cat, if Cat comes available and his asking price is low. Anyone else can take our time and make the right move. I think that's the right and fair way to go about the TPE. Like and I keep saying the TPE, if they were to go out and get, a couple guys that would probably eat into the TPE, obviously, if not use it all up. So when I say wait for the TPE, I mean wait to make an absolute splash of a move. Because I'm on board with that too. Like waiting till next offseason, but I do want Danny Ainge to do something. I talked about it on the podcast today. It's on this YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube right now, Unleashed. We just hit 100 episodes last episode. This is episode 101. Go watch that. It's also on Apple and Spotify and whatnot. But I talked about, we don't need the superstar. We could use a couple role players that help this team and make this bench a lot better. So, I'm not rushing to go and get the blockbuster move. But, again, if we do make a move for Drummond, if we do make a move for John Collins, 2 names that I've been like, about. Harrison Barnes, perfect example. He's the guy that I think you'd be paying a premium price for that I don't know is truly a superstar. I'd be completely content if they got him too, because I think it makes this team better, no matter how you look at it. Let's see. Dean says nobody stops him. Greg, I think Drummond and Vucevic are both realistic options. Personally, I would prefer Vucevic. He might be. I'm not kidding, guys. I think Vucevic is at the top of my list. After doing these streams, you guys remember it was like a month ago, someone brought up Vucevic, and I was like, nah, he's too old. They would have him, and then I fact-checked it. He's not as old as I thought. They would have him through his 32nd year. He signed till for 3 more years, including this one, I think. He's at the top of my list. He's a true big man that also stretches the floor. He's at the top of my list right now, I think. AC says Vucevic is a better fit than Drummond. He would cost more in assets, but I think he would be terrific. Now, that's a guy I think you're paying a price that's equivalent to. Greg says, why didn't we sign Andre Roberson? Great defender is on the Nets, so another guy to the bolster team. So, did we talk about this last stream? My annoyance with these types of moves is that it just seems like such an easy thing to throw your hat into the ring for, right? And Danny Ainge doesn't do it. Roberson, Derrick Rose, countless names over the years. It's like, you're telling me that you're not willing to take a flyer on Derrick Rose? The Knicks got him for like a bag of chips that were half eaten and moldy. And the Celtics couldn't get their name in on that when they do clearly need that backup guard that can also provide scoring. I don't get the hesitation for that. And that's why I'm not an NBA GM. Like, I get it, but Roberson's another name, like a 3 and I'm not gonna call him a 3 and D guy. Let's call him a 2.5 points and 3, a 2.5 and D guy, I guess. But he is a good defender. And I guess we can call him a veteran at this point, right? Like, I'm not thrilled about that name, but you're telling me you wouldn't want Andre Roberson out there than some of these bench guys? Raisin says, assuming he's available, which player do you want the Celtics to trade for / sign the most? I think Vucevic. Hayden says, man, how great does a win feel, though? AC says, I like Collins. He's young and good for double-doubles. But that's the thing. I'm a big believer in Collins. I think he's going to be good, but I'm hesitant because, one, I think you'd have to give up a lot. And I think he's coming up on a contract, right? And he's probably going to want a max-like deal, expensive, and it's a gamble with him. I've used that word plenty. I put it on the YouTube channel. I've said it on these streams. If they go and get Collins, I'm all in on it. I'm going to be excited. I'm going to be happy. But he's a gamble. He is. He's a gamble. Sergio, only reason I'm up on Collins is because he's better than Gordon and can shoot. More importantly, he's very young, so he can build with the Jays. Yeah. Let's see. AC says Rondé Hollis, Jefferson, and IT need jobs. Isaiah Thomas definitely does. I mean, he's already going out and playing for Team USA. Like, I'm not saying the Celtics need him. I mean, I would take him just for the theatrics of it and the heart and soul, But it's crazy to me that Isaiah Thomas doesn't have a job yet. I know he had like the injuries and he was banged up for a little while. He's been on like a handful of teams since the Celtics, but we're not like that far removed from him literally just averaging near 30 points a game just a few seasons ago. It seems like a lifetime ago. I get it, and that might be the reason why he's not signed yet. But I think some of these teams that need a player like that, whether he works out or not, are crazy to not be picking up the phone and calling him. And I don't know, maybe I'm biased because he's, has done so much for his team. He's literally one of these bobbleheads up here. But it's crazy to me that a team hasn't been like, hey, let's take the chance on a guy that literally averaged near 30 points per game in a season, took the team to the Eastern Conference Final, played through so much outside of basketball, inside of basketball. Crazy to me that a team hasn't picked up the phone to call Isaiah Thomas and say, hey, you want to come help our ball club? Because there's a lot of teams in this league that could use Isaiah Thomas 1,000,000%. And I don't care what anyone says to knock that. He's worth a flyer in my mind. He wouldn't be expensive, and I think that he could, even if he's a shell of what he was, he's still better than a lot of options in the NBA. Oh, but he's so small, he can't play defense. Save it. Let's see. Just went off on a Isaiah rant. Raisin says the silver lining is that I'd rather have the Celtics go through a bad stretch now than we're in the playoffs. Good point. Kevin says TPE for Jokic. I think if we trade Teague in a 20-50 second round, the Nets might bite. No. I mean, Jeff Teague makes it have to be like every pick until 2050. You have to compensate for trading Jeff Teague to the Nuggets. But, I mean, if that would be amazing because think about a big man that would come here. Like, just imagine for a second Jokic on this team. He's not taking shots away from Tatum and Brown because he really seems to only shoot smart shots. And he's passing the ball and, I got to control myself here. Jeez. Ubi saying it could be like Melo 2.0. Yeah, I think Isaiah Thomas could come back to a team and accept his role 1,000,000%. And then he'd probably prove people wrong. And if anyone really wants to rag on Isaiah and say he's nothing, it's like everyone told him that his entire career, right? 60th pick in the draft. Got run out of multiple teams because people were saying that he wasn't good enough. Then he comes to Boston and just absolutely explodes. It's like this guy's literally been proving people wrong his entire career. And that's probably one of the reasons why I say he's not done playing basketball. He's still got plenty left. So, yeah, I think Melo 2.0 probably Ubi is probably a good sort of comp, right? Melo is an exact type of guy. He's got nothing left, even if he can score, whatever, he's not good. Now he's thriving in Portland, accepting his role, going off when they need him to. The one thing is, Melo's 6'7" or something, right? Not 5'9". And I think people frown upon that. They say he can't play defense. A lot of people in this league can't play defense and have jobs, not Isaiah Thomas. AC says, I bet if he performs with USA, he'll get a contract. Can we just flip Tremont Waters to the curb and pick him up? I mean, I would do it. Tremont frustrates me now. Tremont, a guy that I liked and kind of wanted to give a chance last year. Every time he comes in, he shoots the ball now. And he tries to do too much. And I know he's probably trying to prove himself to get an opportunity because he knows it's not going to be here. But I've been frustrated with him. And I know I shouldn't be frustrated with the 1,000,000th guy on the bench. I get that. But I'm just a Celtics loser, I guess, and I read too much into things. But still. Raisin says, if Blake Griffin does get bought out, I'll take him as long as we don't have to watch Semi and Grant play again. So this is a big one. What do you guys think that are in the chat now about Blake Griffin? Because I'm in on the Blake Griffin move. I would take that. And it's like, oh, well, yeah, he's not as good as he once was. No kidding. That's why he's available for trade. So I would take Blake Griffin. I would. But we put an article on GuyBostonSports.com today. Eric wrote it, and people were kind of ragging on, why would you want him? He stinks. No, thank you. Stay as far away from that guy as possible. It's like, I know he's not what he was. I don't think he's dunked the ball this year. I'm not exaggerating. I think Blake Griffin has 0 dunks this year. He averaged 100 dunks a year in his prime, obviously. But I think that he would be worth take swinging the bat on. I don't know. Let's see. Sergio says Taco and Jokic. Taco for Jokic. Who says no? Do we want to see Taco go? I know we got a lot of Taco Fall lovers. AC says, Jokic is a magician. He's so doughy. How does he do it? It's crazy. Tommy says, when is Smart back? I don't know. It's supposed to be a few weeks, and that was... When was that? When did they play the Lakers? I don't even remember. So probably not too much longer for Smart, but I haven't heard an update on it. Bunk says, you mean to tell me no one in the league believes IT can come back and put up 8 to 10 points off the bench when needed? Don't believe it. That's the thing. He's not what he was in Boston. I get that all the time. No shit, Sherlock. He's not a 30. Wait, you're telling me this guy that's a free agent, we're not going to be getting a 30-point-per-game scorer? Oh, thank you very much, Washington Wizards fan. I had no clue Isaiah Thomas was no longer that player. But 8 to 10 off the bench could do so much. One for the Celtics starters, but so much for so many teams. It's crazy. Greg says if he was available, I would trade for Boucher, I don't know how to say it, but from the Raptors. I think when OG Anunoby comes back, he'll grow their depth. He's really good. Is his first name? No, I forget his first name. But he has a really good story too, right? Like he wasn't touted to be anything, and he's kind of worked his way into the rotation. Long, skinny, could put on some weight, I would say, but that's that can happen. I'm not saying it's a big obstacle, and I think he could stretch the floor. I would take him. That's a really good name. I don't know if he's available though, right? Like I think that they might look at him as a building block too. Bunk says I would start Blake, and that's so much money to be sitting on the bench. Again, that's probably somewhat of maybe a potential buyout situation. I don't know. Raisin says, is Romeo going to be injured forever? Yeah, I have no update on him either. Tommy says Michael Porter Jr. is so selfish, it's not even funny. He takes dumb shots all the time. Remember when he went off on the Nuggets in the bubble because he was not getting the ball? He is you know what it is with him? It's because he was supposed to be the best player in the draft, right? And then he hurt his back and he fell in the draft, and then he hurt his back again or something. He's got to have that sort of complex of I got to get back to being at the top, and now he's just selfish about it. AC says Griffin actually fits with Boston, what they do. He's willing to come in and play a role. Good pickup. Yeah, I think that he would help this team again. I might be like the simpleton out there that's like, oh, anyone would help this team, but this team could use a lot of help, and any of these names we're throwing out would be better than a lot of the names we have. Kevin says, I know Jaylen played well, but Michael Porter Jr. was the Celtics player of the game. Do we have to change this graphic to Michael Porter Jr.? The stat line just saying sucks, sucks, sucks. A few more comments, guys, and then we're going to turn off the stream for tonight. Ubi says, Raptors fans love him. They won't trade him. Yeah, I don't think that they're going to trade him. Chris is his first name, right? I just thought of it. Am I right? I don't know. But yes, I don't think he's that's the Greg. Is it Greg that you brought it up? I think that was the first time I was hearing of him being on the. I don't know why he would. He's probably still on his cheap deal right now. I don't know why that they would get rid of him. But if all these names technically that we're talking about, Vucevic, I guess not Drummond, it's been told he's going to trade. Same with Griffin. But a lot of these names are kind of like hypotheticals anyways. The team's not out here being like, hey, Celtics, you want to trade for this guy? So a lot of these names are possibly not even available either. All right. Greg says, only take Griffin if he's bought out. No way you're trading for his contract. $39 million worse. Yeah, again, same thing with Drummond. The Drummond being bought out is the same with Blake Griffin. I don't love Drummond's contract. That's a huge hindrance in me wanting to go get, or not wanting to go get, but getting Drummond as well. Those are two crucial things. I don't want the money for these guys. It's got to be a buyout and a deal situation. I'm talking about the player with a realistic salary. So Blake Griffin plus his ridiculous contract probably, helps the team on the court, but then could hurt them in any sort of money situation. Same thing with Andre Drummond. So I'm hoping for a buyout for both of them. All right, we're gonna just take a couple more comments here. Do the Celtics need more shooting or more rebounding? If rebounding, then I'm all in for Drummond. That's a tough one. Tonight they out-rebounded, but I don't know what... They definitely, I would probably say they need more shooting and need more bench scoring than big man, but I think it never hurts to have that big down low. Hear what Green had to say last night. He was speaking facts. Yeah, Draymond Green talked about how players get, I think he even used the word castrated or something, but players get so looked down upon when they want to talk about a trade or they want out. And then teams like the Pistons and Cavs can say, hey, we're trading this guy. He's not even going to play. He's got a point. I don't always agree with Draymond Green, obviously, but he's got a point. You got to look at it from both sides here, and it's kind of bull if teams can almost, blemish a player's name and tarnish his reputation if he wants to go out there and be traded. James Harden, again, not all these names I agree with their theories or whatever, but James Harden was looked at so damn negatively because he requested a trade and was so public about it, and everyone hated on him and said he was selfish for doing that. That's a good word, selfish. Keep that word in mind. And then a team like the Pistons or the Cavs as of late can say, hey, we're going to trade Blake Griffin. We're going to trade Drummond, so we're not going to play them. And that's not selfish. That's just okay. I don't know. It's kind of BS to me. It is. AC says, good job on the graphics tonight. No 34-point mistakes. No victory beer. No, not feeling it tonight. Plus, haven't had many victory beers lately, so I don't even know what beer tastes like anymore. These Celtics aren't winning. Ubi says, rebounder, interior defense, a competent bench. We need it all. True. So when we get asked that question, what do they need more? It's kind of like they could use all of that. Vucevic has a lot of things we need. Completely agree, Sam. I think that he's probably at the top of my list. So I don't know if you just tuned in. If you did, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and liking these streams. We go live after every Celtics game. We are closing up shop pretty soon here. But earlier in the stream, we talked about Vucevic, and I think he's moved to the top of my list. He's a true big man. Can rebound, can score down low, can play defense down low. He's still a big body down low, but he stretches the floor too. It's crazy. Like, he's a true big man, but can do what the NBA needs from a big man nowadays. So give me him all day. Raisin says, Danny Ainge, please make some trades. Kevin says, nobody should want Drummond. Detroit traded him for a reason, and the Cavs are trying to dump him too. I think he would help, even if just marginally. But guys, it's going to do it for tonight's stream. If you are watching on YouTube still, please like this stream. Everyone in the stream right now, please kill the like button and subscribe to the channel. And we go live after every single Celtics game, as most of you know. And finally back to talking about a win, so that's great. But we'll catch you guys in the next stream. Hopefully we are talking another win. But we'll catch you guys in the next stream.